Alright, hello and welcome to this boss guide for Void Rahyeh. Void Rahyeh is the final boss for the Black Sun timeline, and many people believe that Void Rahyeh is the hardest boss in all of the Monolith of Fate. So today we're going to go over how to deal with Void Rahyeh, and hopefully I'll be able to show people that this fight isn't quite as difficult as many believe it actually is. Let's start with the damage types. Void Rahyeh does, as you would expect, void damage, but also physical. But void is seemingly the most important by far. Some of its attacks, it's really hard to tell if physical is actually occurring, but void is definitely occurring. But to be safe, I suggest getting void and physical protection for this fight. As far as modifiers to avoid, frenzy and haste when hit, and rages at half health, armor and prots as a percentage of health. All other modifiers are either good to go or build dependent. If you are not sure if your build should be taking particular modifiers, check out my video on how to succeed in the Monolith of Fate. Alright, let's get into the actual boss mechanics. There are a good number of them, but 6 actual mechanics that are directly things the boss does, 5 if you don't include adds. So first off, when you enter the arena area, you will run into some pre-boss trash. Go ahead and kill that just to give yourself a little bit easier of a time. Then you'll go into the circle and the bridge behind you will be destroyed, preventing you from going back where you came from. This creates an arena circle to fight Rahyeh in. Now, of Rahyeh's attacks, I think the most dangerous one is the quick slam attack. This particular attack is targeted at the player. It has a quick cast time. It does moderate to high damage. Now, it's hard for a lot of builds to actually get out of this, especially if you don't have a movement ability. If you do and you're quick, you should be fine. Otherwise, you might need quite a bit of move speed to make sure you can consistently avoid this attack. But the good news is it can also be tanked with decent void and possibly armor prots. And if you have decent regen or some pots available, you should be able to get back up to 100% in no time. All right, the next mechanic is the big slam attack. On this attack, Rahyeh creates a large circle in front of him and slams the area with his wings. It's similar to the quick slam, but Rahyeh does it in front of him instead of on the player. It has a much larger area. It also has a much longer cast time. It does moderate to high damage, similar to quick slam attack, but it's much easier to avoid. You should be able to avoid getting hit by this pretty much every time. All right, the next one to talk about is the line AoE attack. The Rahyeh flies to a position outside of the arena and looks at the player. From there, Rahyeh flies towards the player's current position, leaving a wide bar of void on the ground that does high dot damage that cannot be tanked. This attack can be avoided most easily by running across or side to side from Rahyeh's position as opposed to towards or away from Rahyeh. The next attack, and the one that Rahyeh is probably the most famous for, is what we'll call the pie chart. The Rahyeh flies to the center of the circle and begins spawning a conal AoE in a circular pattern. These AoEs do moderate to high damage, but they can be tanked with good void prots. For most players, though, it would be best to just avoid the damage altogether, and there are 2 strategies to do this. The first one, and the one I prefer, is to just run in a circle, avoiding all of the attacks as they come out. But there's also the strategy of skipping back and forth from an activated area to an unactivated area. Rahyeh will also from time to time spawn a pack of low damage non-rare enemies. Kill these to avoid further clutter and extra incoming damage. The last mechanic that we'll talk about for Void Rahyeh is the AoE Rain ability. So Rahyeh summons multiple small circles which drop meteor-like projectiles after a short period. These do moderate to high damage, but they are relatively easy to avoid. Just keep moving around and making sure you don't stop in one of them, and you should usually avoid getting hit from all of them. And if you do, and you have decent void prots and armor, you should still be fine. Alright, that's all there is to the Void Rahyeh fight. A lot of people are really struggling with this fight, but hopefully this guide will help. There really is only one attack that I personally think is maybe a bit on the unfair, so to speak, side, which is that quick slam attack. But if you do have 100% glancing blow, high void prots, armor, and crit avoidance, that should never kill you. And even if you don't have all of those, if you have a good mix of them, you should usually be fine. Be on the lookout for more boss guides, as I'll be doing all 7 in a series. Also, I stream on Twitch 5 to 6 days a week if you'd like to come hang out, check out how the boss fights look, check out the Monolith of Fate, check out some theory crafting, and also we do weekly tournaments right now. Feel free to join us on that, and I have a Discord where we have a lot of discussions about both Last Epoch and other ARPGs and even other video games. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Have a great time in Last Epoch.